Hey everyone, we'll be starting shortly. I'm getting everything set up and then we can good to go. All right, that's all saved. Going on there. Connection seems good. No drop frames. Then we're good to go. So, hi everyone. Welcome to another stream of Phoenix Wright Trilogy. Where we had last left off, we had started our second investigation into the murder case of Glen Elg. We had looked further into the possible murderer. We ended up finding the offices of Tender Lender, which is owned by the phony Phoenix Wright, and a creepy woman who speaks weird. And we also went to Glen Elg's workplace, where we found that he has a boss, a robot boss. And we also found out about the Cadavarinis, which is a mafia family that are pretty well known. There's also a virus going around the police station, ravaging their computer systems. And we found out that the MC Bomber disc that Glen Elg had was actually a virus. And he was the one that made it. And he was going to sell it for millions, so then he could actually pay off his debt. Unfortunately, he was killed. So someone has taken the virus and has actually set it on the police. So, yeah. I believe last time we were not stuck, but we were at a point where it was readily able to be stopped. But we shall see if we can get further in today and then get on to the next trial case. Hopefully I could do the voices. I think the last time I did it, I just had something wrong with my throat. Yesterday it was fine. Today, hopefully it feels fine, but we shall see. But other than that, let's switch over to the game screen and begin today's stream. Yep. Refresh this. Okay. Use this. I think we're good to go. Yeah, everything seems fine. So, continue. Episode 3, recipe turnabout, part 3. Right, yeah. I believe that we came here because we had the information for the virus program, maybe? So we could try. I don't need to do the whole voicing for this at the moment because we've already done it to a point. I think it was like the last point we got stuck on.
Take that!
I just have to remember what the friggin' answers were. To do with this, the tickets.
Take that!
Was restricted to horse racing. Also, this ticket.
Take that!
More terrifying and ferocious. Juice the tiger.
Take that!
There we go. Okay, I guess I didn't save it? I don't know. I guess I just came back here and then just never brought it up. Although I do remember this actually, because there is one more. Gambling habit, $100,000. So you should have been in the clear. The guy got lucky and won the lottery, but what if he hadn't won? What was his plan then? Instead he would use his money to repay the money. Perhaps you good people should leave so I can get back to my work. Was it by chance this? Okay, now we have it. This is where we were stuck before.
Take that!
Well, this is it, isn't it? This is the virus that's infecting computers worldwide as we speak. Worldwide? That's actually pretty bad, because then no one could use their computer. MC Bomber! No! Yes! Reveal the secrets that I have been trying to get this whole time. Glenn's head had more processing power than any computer, but it had been infected with a gambling virus. Glenn was in too deep. You mean he was in debt? Yes, $100,000 in debt. Not an easy amount to repay. So, he said he was working on some extra work, something a bit risky. Risky? How? Maybe he was going to become a waitress at Tribulations? Where did he come up with these ideas? So, it's safe to say Mr. Elg was the creator of this virus, huh? The MC Bomber virus? Yes. It was a work of genius. In a bad sort of way, of course. But still genius. Something like that would probably fetch several $1 million on the black market. But we did nothing to stop this, even though I'm his boss. I could have fired him. But no. Inconceivable! Gumshoe was right for a change. This date, December 3rd, is marked on his calendar. That was the deadline for the repaying of his debts. Hey, Sean. Welcome. Doing all right there? I'm just reading the chat properly now. You can't be coughing in here. Potentially worth millions of dollars. I guess we won't be needing these horse racing tickets anymore. Glen Elk's losing horse racing tickets thrown back on the floor. What? Put it in the bin! Use the trash can, Nick. Yeah! Listen to her. So, the thing has been updated twice now. Well, there's not much else I can really talk about, so I can't help it. I mean, yeah, it's better. Really, you doing alright, man? Don't be too sick. Who was it that needed the information about the CD? I think maybe Detention Center? No, she's not here still. Alright, well, I guess we go back to the Tenderlander, maybe? Here we go. She has a $5. Storm operation, fatal injury. Did the injury have something to do with this? Donuts? Huh? For my donuts. What's inside jam and... I'm sorry, I didn't go catch that. I can't remember what I chose for the first one. Get a donut offered to Phoenix by Viola. Or Viola. Wow, okay. Just really back off. Got sandpaper. It's alright, man. You take care of yourself. Hey, Swordmaster, welcome. It was the insurance repair bill, wasn't it?
Take that!
And this is why. Do I show her?
Take that!
Yeah. I know exactly who you are, Viola Cadavarini. Oh, it's with an E. I've been spelling it wrong. I've been putting an A instead of an E. Viola Cadavarini. You sustained that injury in a traffic accident, didn't you? It happened about 4 months ago. I was driving home in one of my family's cars when someone pulled out in front of me. It was me! I got run over! It was a motorbike, or something like that. I don't remember it much. Anyway, I swerved to try to avoid it, but... I took a blow to the head. A bad one. Yeah, I can imagine. How did she get hurt more than the guy on the motorbike? Was she not wearing a seatbelt? So what happened to the person on the bike? I'm guessing they didn't get away with the injuring the Viola Cadavarini, right? I don't know what happened to them. They ran away, or so I heard. Ran away? If they'd stayed, I'd have... Is it possible, could the person who committed the hit and run have been... the man with the obvious tan? Good point, I guess she wasn't. Yeah, maybe. It was the man, wasn't it? He was the cause of your accident. It wasn't Don Tigre. I refuse to believe it. We collided, the motorbike and my car. But Don Tigre isn't injured at all. Is he? It was the tiger who caused Viola to crash. I can feel it. Plus, one of her locks just broke, so she must have suspected it was him too. I'm sorry, Miss Cadavarini, but I have proof that Tigre was involved in a traffic accident on this bike. Probably the state of his bike, because it looks like it has been in an accident.
Take that!
It's not exactly a motorbike, but Mr. Tigre runs around on a scooter, doesn't he? And you notice that the front wheel guard is badly damaged. It's not the only thing that's damaged. You've got that, you've got the actual shield for the front, you've got the back one, you've got one of its, what are they called? Side mirrors has been knocked off. Mr. Cadavarini. You know the truth, don't you? This repair bill was paid by Furio Tigre. Cadavarinis have known for ages who caused the accident, haven't they? It's possible. Perhaps. Somewhere inside me, I know that may be true. I knew it. But Don Tigre still saved my life. The operation was very complicated. It was very, very expensive. How much are we talking? Very, very, very expensive. She seems kind of hesitant about giving me an actual figure. I should back off. Well, anyway, it was the tiger who paid for it, right? After I recovered, Don Tigre told me. He said he paid for the operation because he cared about me. I believe him. Really? But do you honestly believe that to be true? Do you want to know what I think? I think the reason he paid for the operation was because of you, but someone else.
Take that!
Perhaps I shouldn't be saying this, but your grandfather, Bruno Cadavarini, controls a lot of dubious cash, right? And you are his beloved pride and joy. Sure, I don't know how much the operation cost, but if you weren't the granddaughter of Mr. Cadavarini, do you think Mr. Tigre would have paid the money? $1 million. Woo! By sheer force of will and my big brain, we figured out. Like 500,000 to 100,000. I think you meant to put 1 million, but yeah. 4 months ago, I was in a traffic accident. That's why I needed the operation. But when I woke up, they told me it was nothing serious. A simple procedure. Oh, really? Well, I guess if she recovered in 4 months, it couldn't have been too big. They said the operation would cost $1 million. $1 million? My grandfather ordered Don Tigre to pay. Sounds like the American healthcare system. Literally, like, oh, we'll save your life, but you have to pay us to do it. Like, what? Any other country is like, oh no, your healthcare is covered by the government or anything, so you don't have to pay. America's just like, nah, who cares about human rights? We only care about earning more money. That's how we're the best country in the world, by exploiting our own people. And people don't care. I should be careful with that. $1 million in compensation. Compensation, huh? It's underworld lingo for paying money to settle a score. Basically, a pay or get into some serious trouble. Or die. But $1 million? This has to be related to our poisoning case somehow. I wanted to believe him. I wanted to trust what Don Tigre said. He said it was nothing to do with my grandfather being Pluto Cadavarini. I wanted to believe he helped me because he cared about me, not about my grandfather. But I knew that wasn't really true. Wow, I'm so sorry. The way I'm voicing that for her is like, she's like, oh yeah, I'm sorry. Anyway, burgers. What he did to get the money was evil. He said it was all for me, so I helped him. You helped him? In what way? Here, take these. What are these, medical papers? Pluto Cadavarini's granddaughter. He had to pay the compensation. He was made an offer. He simply couldn't refuse. Medical papers added court record. $1 million bill for cranial surgery. Payment was due last year. So he still hasn't got it? Or is he paying it in installments? Wow, I feel so bad for Viola. It's inexcusable. Huh? There are two things I consider inexcusable. Poisoning and betrayal. That's very specific. It's like, oh, they poisoned someone. Urgh. Not murder. Not, you know, mass genocide. Poisoning. And betrayal. Only a coward would hurt people using either of these tactics. Uh-huh. Get a bit big for your britches there, Phoenix. Is everything alright, Nick? Oh, it's probably because that he was also indicated in, like, someone that betrayed him and a thing that almost poisoned him. I get it now. I was just stupid. We should get going. Right after we finish our espresso. Yeah. I won't need to convince Viola of anything else, so I guess I can get rid of this. Repair bill thrown into the trash. We might need that. What are you talking about? Can't just go throwing away evidence like that. Do you know this other old man? You know, all the old people know each other. Ooh. Ah, bonjour. I have been waiting for you to return. Mr. Armstrong? Good timing. I'm Phoenix, not the Frenchman. Whoops. Good timing. I was hoping to find you here. We'd like to ask you a few questions. Well, it hasn't been got anything to say to use, fellas. Zinny Hop. Who you calling Zinny Hop? Come out from under the table already, Maya. Okay, hand it over. What? Yous want to play a game with me? I don't recommend that. The political papers now. Uh-oh. I think he wants Viola's Cavadarini's papers back. You mean this? The $1 million medical papers? Why are you showing him that? Miss Cadavarini trusted you. That's why she said she helped you. Forget about it. That girl's dumber than an eggplant. Yous want to know what's sad? I tell yous what's sad, and ain't only her face. She thinks she's got power because she's brew a little girl. Now that's sad. I can't let you have these papers. Tomorrow in court, I'm going to expose what you did to get the $1 million you used to pay this off. Are you crazy or something? I don't care if you want to give it to me or not. There's two of us here. You got that too. Wow. Okay. Oui. Mr. Armstrong? Forgive me, désolé. I cannot argue with him. Did I get beaten the crap out of? That really hurt. Is that all you've got? I'll be taking those papers now. Armstrong, get that ladder. Wait. Don't take it too hard, Phoenix Wright. That was so stupid. I shouldn't have let my guard down. You should have shown the freaking papers. But whatever, you like flaunting evidence everywhere. Those medical papers were vital evidence. Hold it, pal. Detective Gumshoe? Detective? You think you're gonna stop me, copper? Beat it. Gah! Whoa. Come on, Gumshoe. Keep it together. You guys, get out of here. Leave this guy to me. But, go, pal. Take this. If you get hurt, who's gonna look after Maggie, huh? Alright. Thanks, Gumshoe. Wait, Nick, don't leave me behind. Well, you just sat there and didn't do anything. You hid under a table and let me get beat up. I'll get even with that guy tomorrow in court. Tentalender is going down. You think he would have learned after Von Karma? Gumshoe 2, Mob 0. 4-1 trial. January 8th, 9:46 a.m. Defendant lobby number 1. Good morning, Mr. Wright. Good morning, Maggie. So, what do you think is going to happen today, sir? Yesterday's session didn't go so well and ended up on a giant mystery. That's true. We still haven't solved a single part of it yet. Who is Maggie? Our defendant. Are you okay, Nick? Huh? Oh, yeah, yeah, of course. I saw that little flash of doubt in your eyes. No, that wasn't doubt. That was, determination. I am filled with it. Why don't I believe you? It's nearly time, Maggie. You better get going to the defendant's seat. Roger. Don't let me down, Mr. Wright. I'm counting on you. Hey, pal. Hey, Detective Gumshoe. Quit stressing Maggie out. She doesn't need that. How did you know she was stressed? I was watching through the doorway. Oh. You look like you lost the case already. Show a bit of confidence, will you, pal? Here, maybe this'll help. Huh? Have you taken up aromatherapy too? Not in a million years, pal. Don't tell me that you don't remember this thing. Come to think of it, that does look like one of those aromatherapy bottles. This is the small bottle that turned up in Tribulations kitchen a couple of days ago. Wow, look at all these little bottles. Oh yeah, there's some aromatherapy oils. We got so many, they're overflowing onto the floor. Hey, wait a minute. There's one bottle that's different from all the others. Well, what do you know? And it doesn't look like a label either. And it doesn't smell. Finally got the analysis back from the lab. So, what is it? Is it poison? I'm afraid not, pal. It's medication. Medication? Yeah, for ears. Topical use only, apparently. For ears? You mean... Yeah, it's the medication Glenn Elg was using for the ruptured eardrum. But why was it in the thing? What was Glenn Elg's medicine doing in the kitchen? Found covered in unidentified prints in the kitchen. I guess there wasn't enough for it to be, useful. Like, they might have partial prints which can't be used fully to compare against other ones. What about the unidentified fingerprints? Anything on that? Someone screwed up, so they only had time to analyze the contents of the bottle. Another hour, and they might have gotten something on the prints, but it's going to weaken its impact as piece of evidence. Okay, pal, this is it. Make sure your defense is impregnable, okay? Make sure it's pregnant. Got it. Today's trial. Armstrong took it? I mean, yeah, but why? I mean, yeah, he did steal our Magatama for some reason. Today's trial. I'm gonna expose that guy for what he's done, or my name isn't Phoenix Wright. 10 a.m. Court is now in session for the trial of Maggie Bird. Again. You know, we really need to stop making these days so long. 3 days? It's too long. The defense is ready, Your Honor, and I don't agree to that supposition. Ready and waiting as always, Your Honor. Very good. Then we'll get underway at once. Yesterday we heard the testimony of Mr. Victor Kudo. Claims to have witnessed a defendant putting a powder into the victim's coffee. However, the witness testimony was plagued with a number of problems. The mask on the rim of the cup shows that the victim drank from it with his right hand. But according to the old man's testimony, he picked it up with his left hand. Thank you, Mr. Godot. Furthermore, according to the witness's account, the victim was listening to the radio with an earpiece in his left ear. Yet the victim's left eardrum was ruptured, which made him effectively deaf in that ear. It's amazing how many contradictions in a single case can have, huh, Cut Nick? Allow me to enlighten you, Your Honor. The world, you see, keeps turning, and we must turn with it. You've lost me already, Mr. Godot. Don't let the mysteries of yesterday mystify you today. Only losers think like that. We've got to change with the times. That's one of my rules. Are you implying that you've resolved these contradictions? You know the answer to these riddles. That was the judge, not him. The old guy wasn't just throwing seeds in here. He was throwing us off the scent. And today I'll prove it. Very well, let the first witness take the stand. Oh boy, it's you, the guy who's willing to let me get beat up. And you are? Oh, bonjour everyone. I am Jean Armstrong, the owner and the head chef of Le Très Bien restaurant. Enchanté. Forgive me for asking, witness, but are you a woman? Oh my god, this game is showing its age right now. Although, then again, it is Japan and they're still like this. Ooh la la, monsieur. As you can see, I'm le perfect perky gentleman, no? On the day of the incident, you were in Très Bien kitchen. Didn't he beat up Wright, not the tiger? Oh. I mean, I thought it was the tiger and Armstrong just stood by and let it happen. Isn't that right? With you, monsieur. Everything feels right. Ha! Wow, he's totally unfazed. Doesn't anything intimidate this guy? Very well, your testimony, please, witness. Please tell the court what happened that day at Très Bien. Oh oui, volontiers. When it all happened, there was 2 customers in my restaurant. I remember I was experimenting with some new art decors that day. Like having a large mirror between the tables, for example. Oui, perhaps that is what the old man was looking at. La cup, la earpiece, and la glasses. He would have seen everything in reverse, no? A mirror? Oui, un grand mirror. La most enormous mirror. And suddenly, the mysterious mystery disappears. Like I said, the world keeps turning, so roll with it. That would explain the coffee cup and the earpiece conundrum. The mirror would have made everything appear back to front. What in the heck? It's way too early in the morning for this to be happening to me. Now then, Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination. Here's the thing, though. You can't just suddenly infer that the guy was looking in a mirror when the guy never mentioned a mirror. Plus, there was no mirrors in the picture. And who were the 2 customers exactly? My, of course, the young man who died. And the other not-so-young man. You are referring to yesterday's witness, I presume. What about the other man Maggie said she saw at the table? Something tells me Mr. Armstrong isn't planning to disclose his existence. We need some hard evidence first before we can bring him up, don't we? I guess I'll just have to try a different approach for the time being. Press him on everything. You were experimenting with Art Deco? How come I've never heard about that before today? You are not familiar with this language of interior design, monsieur? Please stay on topic. Now, why didn't you tell me this before the court? Tell the court about this before. But I did, just a few moments ago. Excuse me, Mr. Armstrong. This deco you mentioned, are you referring to some sort of decoture? No, Art Deco. It's a style of design, Your Honor. He's talking about interior design, walls, ceiling, carpets, that kind of thing. Ah, yes, of course. That deco. I was trying to achieve a more effeminate look for my restaurant. I was planning the most bold remodeling of the decor. How big of a mirror are we talking about here? Both. Something about 4 meters wide and about 2 meters high. Let's see, if 1 meter is about 1 yard, holy glass, it's in a frame, that's huge. I was intending to install it on the ceiling eventually. The ceiling? Was there a mirror on the ceiling? I don't remember. I know, but I decided not to go with it in the end. What should I do? Should I ask him for more information about the mirror or not? I guess the old man's testimony was so shaky they likely take testimony from Armstrong and still proven inaccuracy or untrustworthy. I guess so. If you really had such a large mirror in the restaurant, someone would have noticed it. But there's nothing about a mirror in Mr. Kudo or Maggie Bride's testimonies.
Objection!
You didn't ask, Trite. You only have yourself to blame for such sloppy work. What? A mirror was recently delivered to Tribulations the day before the incident. Really? As Mr. Armstrong testified, he was carrying out some design changes. And as it turned out, he didn't actually use the mirror in the end. This just doesn't add up. Even if a mirror was delivered to Tribulations, it doesn't prove that it was in the restaurant on the day of the crime. Ah, if you want to doubt someone, try look in the mirror. I'm sure that person looking back at you will be dubious enough. So the witness yesterday had seen the victim reflected in a mirror. Normally, I'd expect people to know the difference between a reflection and a real object.
Objection!
Normally? How does normally come into this? That lame, Mr. Trite. Even for you. Huh? Are you trying to say that if something isn't normal, it isn't possible? Is that it? Where does that leave the porky-headed port lawyer and the top-knotted chick over there? And the ungodly cool guy with the mask over here? Well, trite. Not the hair. I don't have a top knot. I mean, you do. Although it might be called something different. Mr. Godot is correct. A lack of normality is no basis for discounting an argument. Okay. Bien, our logic is one till a day.
Hold it!
Everything? You would have seen everything in reverse? Oh, hey, Nick. We should take a second to think about what old CD said in his testimony. How did he phrase it again? Oh, boy was wearing an earpiece on the same side of the green lens on his specs. No question, you can lock me up if I'm wrong. It was his left ear, no doubt. And then he used the same hand to pick up the cup in his left hand. He saw everything he described reflected in a mirror. Then everything he said he saw on the left was actually on the right, huh? And that clears up all the problems with the testimony, I guess. Or does it? Huh. It's kind of hard to believe everything the fault of a mirror, but... Do you think Old City saw everything through a reflection? If he did, it would explain all the contradiction in his testimony. But that just makes Maggie's situation worse. There's got to be something in that old man's testimony we just got to deep deeper. Maybe the vase, then? Because if that was true... Wait, how would he have a mirror? Because there's a window here. I'm checking out evidence to see if there's anything. Oh, that's actually not... I thought there was a mark on my screen from here, but that's not a mark. That's actually the thing on the in the game. You good about the earpiece being on the wrong side? Yeah. Yeah, this would have been on his right then. But no, I'm trying to think. Yeah, because his earpiece would have shown up on his right. Right? Because it's like, if he saw him in the reflection, that would mean that the eyepiece was actually on his right eye instead of his left. But in real life, in non-reflection world, I don't have to describe it like that, but anyway, in real life, his thing was still on his left. So that would mean that he still saw the correct thing, because he would actually see it on the other side.
Objection!
The coffee cup, the earpiece, and the HMD. Let's think back over Mr. Kudo's testimony for a second, shall we? The boy was wearing the same piece on the same side as the green lens of his specs. No question, you can lock me up if I'm wrong if the left ear without a doubt. So, to summarize, we were told that both the HMD and the earpiece were on the victim's left side. Now, if Mr. Kudo saw all of that as a reflection in a mirror, it means that both the HMD and earpiece were actually on the victim's right side. Exactement! You see, monsieur, now that you think about it, it is not so hard, no? Unfortunately, that's where you run into a monumental contradiction with the facts. if Mr. Kudo really did see everything in a mirror, why is it that HMD is now on the wrong side of his head? Order, order. Mr. Wright is correct. If a witness genuinely observed the victim reflected in a mirror, then we would have expected the victim's A-piece to be over his right eye.
Objection!
How bitter. Right. You should have a taste of this bitterness. It will calm you down in no time. Are we talking about your coffee or something completely different? You don't understand the way that witness thinks. How he thinks? You remember this, I presume. I broke the vase, sorry, apology Mr. Kudo's sworn testimony? Exactly. This old man has one very grievous habit, other than throwing seeds. The more of an impression something makes, the more muddled his mind makes it. And that's what's the most striking thing about Mr. Elg. Clearly it's the victim's eyepiece. And that's my point. The old man strikes again. Mr. Elg's HMD made a big impression to the old man. I saw the earpiece with those newfangled spectacles he was wearing. Oh yes, they were both on his left ear. Do you hear? His left ear. Well, trite. That's the worst but best impression of Mr. Kudo ever. Wow, I really thought he was the old C for a minute there. Kudo's good. Enough. I must have agreed that yesterday's witness was irresponsibly rash in much of his testimony. Bad luck, Nick. Looks like this is the boil of contradiction you found is just a rash. Why do you have to describe it in such a disgusting way? A mirror can't be beaten by a handful of seeds, nor can it lie. So, what exactly was the old man looking at? Fill us in, Mr. Armstrong. Go on, tell the court. We're all ears. Ah oui, I can explain. Please, if you look at the plans of the restaurant. Hello, is everyone sitting comfortably? La mirror, it was in the middle of the restaurant, dividing the two halves. There is only one seat from which you could have seen a little image of the victim. That was the seat at the table of the victim. That was where the old man was sitting. After the terrible incident occurred, I moved the mirror so it was not in the way. But naturally, I did not touch anything else. I see no problem with the explanation we just heard. From the table next to the victim, Mr. Kudo could have seen the victim in the mirror. What a naughty little coquette I am, confusing all the men like this. Don't worry about it. We can keep up, except for the guy breaking out in a cold sweat over there again. I hate that guy. You said you didn't touch anything else apart from the mirror. Are you quite sure about that? Volunteers, of course. Very well, Mr. Wright. Your cross-examination, if you please.
Hold it!
So, run this by me again. The mirror was here, correct? Oui. Oui? Really? Because I know if I were you, I wouldn't have put a mirror there. It would be in the way.
Objection!
Who's talking, trite? Huh? You're obstructing my view, among other things. But this is my seat in the courtroom. JBN's charm is that it gives you the impression that you're the only customer. Temporarily placing a mirror in that spot would hardly be in the way. Unlike you, trite. I tell you, monsieur, la mirror was there, in the middle of the restaurant.
Hold it!
And where would that be? Ooh la la! Look how you lean towards me. I always attract the younger boys, and maybe I should keep you in suspense a little longer. Mr. Armstrong, please tell the court what you know at once. I attract the older ones too, you know. Handsome. Shall I tease you too? I'm already seeing a very hot someone, so I'm afraid you'll be waiting for a long time. bet she has a mocha cream skin and cappuccino perfume. Bien, I will tell you, there is only one seat from which you could have seen.
Hold it!
So, why can you only see the victim from that particular seat? My monsieur, it is obvious, no? If you look at les plans, you'll understand. The victim would have been reflected in the mirror like so. If you were sitting at the table next to him, you would see everything, no? So that's the old seat he was sitting in on that day? When the poisoning happened? The old man was sitting on the table next to the victim. Why does that seem kind of odd? Because you could just literally look directly across still, even if you were in the other table. Like, what? That doesn't make any sense. The only place you could see is from the table directly next to the guy. No. Just because the mirror's there doesn't block the view of the seat that he was originally in. What? Why would he... Whatever. Did you move the mirror while Mr. Kuda was off calling the police? Oui, exactamente. I carried out like a restaurant then. You moved a huge mirror like that all by yourself? Well, what can I say? I know how to pick things up, Anson. Kato actually laughed at something. Well, given the witness's physique, I suppose it is possible. Did you move anything else from the crime scene, Mr. Armstrong? I look like the obliging type, no? Vanasha did not touch anything else. Yes, you did. Okay, well, I guess I won't. I guess this must be later then. Are you sure about that? I touched nothing except la mirror. Mr. Wright, is there something the witness has said that doesn't match up with the crime scene? Yeah, there is. I just can't put my finger on what exactly. Ha! Suffering from a case of heartburn, trite. Oh, I have just a thing of that, an oil with golden mirror and Frankensteins. What? Frankensteins? I think you mean frankincense. Don't know what staints is. Add a few drops to your coffee and voila. Enjoy. Focus, Phoenix. Breathe. I need to ignore those two and find some evidence. It's pretty strange though, isn't it? I mean, nobody mentioned anything about a really large mirror. You'd think someone would have, but Maggie didn't, and neither did old CD. I mean, the only logical explanation is that there was no mirror inside Travian that day. Now, I just got to prove it somehow. I'm a save. Can I... Nope. Because the thing is, if he saw it from the mirror, how would he be able to see the newspaper? Because he would be seeing the front of the guy, not the side. Ah! I figured out the vase. The vase is supposed to be broken. This piece of evidence contradicts with the testimony we have heard, Your Honor. The crime photo? Yes, this photo clearly shows something that theoretically should not exist. What on earth do you mean by that, Mr. Wright? Should not exist. Ah, sounds like you're trying to describe yourself, Wright. Now then, if the defense would please clarify its statement. What is the something that should not exist in this photo? I think it's pretty obvious that this is what should not be in the picture. The vase? What possible connection does this have to do with the two witnesses' testimony? Your Honor, I'm telling you that there should have been no vase on this table because it very clearly contradicts with a piece of evidence.
Take that!
Got the vase, good spot. Yeah. There's one thing that was clearly demonstrated by yesterday's testimony. Mr. Kudo broke the vase that was sitting on the table where he was sitting. And yet, as the court can see, there is an unbroken vase on the table next to the victim. Why? Because Mr. Kudo was not, in fact, sitting at the table next to the victim at all.
Objection!
Don't be an idiot, Trite. That's impossible. See, that seat's the only one Kudo could have seen the victim's reflection from. Exactly. There is only one conclusion we can draw from this contradiction. There was no mirror in Tribulations that day. Your testimony, Mr. Armstrong, is an elaborate lie. Mon Dieu!
Objection!
Don't try to confuse the court, Trite. Obviously, the witness cleaned up the vase, while the police were taking their time getting to the crime scene.
Objection!
Unfortunately, Mr. Godot, that doesn't quite work for me. Mr. Armstrong has already testified to the contrary in his own words. I did not touch anything else except the mirror. Well, witness, what do you have to say for yourself? I was right. There was no mirror in the restaurant that day. In light of this revelation, we return back to the original problem. Why did the victim have an earpiece in an ear in which he could not hear? You only get one shot in life. There's no turning back. If you want to claim that the mirror wasn't there, Trite, then this problem is all yours. How do you explain that the old man saw? If I can answer this, then I'll be much closer to the truth. I can feel it. You gonna be okay? You really solved this contradiction, Nick? There's more than just one contradiction, Maya. What do you mean? Remember what Maggie told us? There was another man at the victim's table. And there was a sample CD on the victim's table. It all flies in the face of Mr. Kudo's testimony. I think I know the reason why nothing in this case is adding up. Really? Tell me. I don't know. Well, Mr. Wright, let's hear your answer. But first I'll do a save. Yes, Your Honor. The reason behind all the contradiction in Mr. Kudo's testimony is simple. Like, all three of these actually sound kind of plausible. The ear doctor made a mistake. I don't think so. Because if they did, that would be pretty bad for them and they would get fired. Or worse. Like, training someone to put medication in the wrong ear would be kind of bad. The victim was a phony. Mr. Kudo made a mistake. Well, Mr. Kudo did make quite a few mistakes in his testimony. Would that really be him again? I'll go with the third one. The victim was a phony. This case is riddled with contradictions. Yet there is one very simple answer that clears them all up. And what is that? The incident Mr. Kudo witnessed and the incident the victim experienced were two completely different events. What? Yes, the victim that Mr. Kudo saw wasn't Mr. Glenn Elg at all. It was an imposter, a phony pretending to be Mr. Elg. Obviously, unlike the victim, there was nothing wrong with the imposter's left eardrum. That's how he ended up wearing the earpiece in his left ear by mistake. He likes taking a drink and then spitting out. Order in the court. Settle down or I'll clear the courtroom. Quiet, Gramps. Why don't you clear out of here, huh? What did you just say? Trite. Are you saying that Mr. Kudo saw was a setup? Yes. Someone pretended to be Glenn Elg and acted out the whole coffee poisoning. All for the express purpose of creating a witness out of one of Mr. Kudo.
Objection!
Get real, Trite. Why would anyone want to do that? Isn't it obvious? The thing Mr. Kudo was most insistent about in his testimony was... The servant girl brought him a Javakino, but she was in something in it. There was a servant girl right there in the defense chair. I remember her well. It's so hard to believe, but... There was one and only one reason to show Mr. Kudo this fake poisoning. To show Maggie Bird in the act of poisoning the coffee.
Objection!
Are you insinuating that the waitress says the old man's story was a fake as well? It's true that there were no other customers in the restaurant at that time, but... It's also true the chef was there. Who would have not noticed that was what was happening? That's right. Well, witness, if your restaurant really was the scene of such theatrics, you would have known about it, correct? Oh la la, this is most difficult for me.
Objection!
No, it's quite simple. All you have to do is testify. You are under oath after all. Was there, in fact, a phony at Tribulations that day? The defense demands Mr. Armstrong to tell the whole truth about what happened. Defense's request for additional testimony is accepted. You will accurately explain in detail the events in the restaurant that day. Oui. Oui. Imagine if no one understood French and they're just like, why does he keep saying he needs a oui? Le victim, le monsieur Elk, he came to my restaurant alone. I remember the old man arrived not long after him. There was no other customers. When he got the word he won the lottery more, Monsieur Elk became very excited. It was approximately 5 years later that the poisoning incident occurred. No, there is no time for a foreigner to do the acting. Just so we're clear, there were no mirrors in the restaurant after all. Je vous dame de pardon. Forgive me, Your Honor. I lied because I wanted this mess to be cleared up quickly, so I made up evidence that wasn't there, which will put me in prison for at least a few months. Literally falsifying evidence, giving false testimony, lying under oath. Those are things you can be fined for or even put in prison for. Or whatever it's called. Not actual prison, it's the thing that's like the intermediary kind of thing. Not hold in contempt, but I guess it's the same thing. What have you just done is commit perjury, Mr. Armstrong. I will decide how to punish you later. Oui. For now, we will hear your cross-examination. Mr. Wright, if you please. You took that perjury charge a bit too well. But I'm guessing he'll be more serious trouble after this cross-examination. Armstrong was being blackmailed to say nothing as well as cooperate. Like how just beating up. Yeah, probably. What, was he alone at his table as well? My oui, I saw him from the kitchen. Yet the defendant, Miss Bird, remembers it differently. She swears there was another man at the victim's table.
Objection!
Fortunately for you, Trite. Yesterday's witness also testified that the victim was alone. You know, seeing you squirm like that reminds me of a certain coffee's bittersweet bite. What kind of coffee has he been drinking? It's not coffee, it's love. It's love that's bittersweet. Hearing Maya say that makes her seem wise all of a sudden.
Hold it!
By old man, you mean Victor Kudo, correct? Oh, oui, he comes often to my special coffee. I drank your coffee once, Mr. Armstrong. It's special, I'll give you that. It's worth a sip just for the experience. Oh, you make me so happy, monsieur. You are most welcome anytime. I said it was worth one sip. Nothing more. So old Mr. Kudo arrived at the restaurant around the same time as the victim. Maybe I should ask about his arrival in more detail. What time? Out of curiosity, about what time was it that Mr. Kudo arrived? Is it pronounced bird or bride? I think it would be bird because it's B-Y-R. If it was bride, it would be B-R-Y. Oh no, I can't remember, monsieur. I believe we were told by a witness yesterday. Crime was reported at 2:25 p.m. on the scary old man, sir. Does that perhaps jog your memory, witness? The incident happened about 20 minutes after he arrived. So the victim must have arrived between 2 p.m. and 10? No? Just after 2, huh? Thank you for your help in judging my memory, monsieur. You are wonderful. I can't just sit here all the time and do nothing, can I? No, but you can lead the witness, which is not actually a good thing because you're giving them information that could color their perception of things. But whatever, this isn't a real court. The time of day will be added to the witness's testimony. Oh oui, monsieur judge, everything I do it for you. Merci bien. That's French, isn't it? You did it wrong. I'm glad at least one person is in a good mood. He's even humming a song unto himself. He's humming the French national anthem. Well, that would be impossible. Because the thing is every Monday at 1:30. We got him, boys. And gals. I'm afraid I finally got you, Mr. Armstrong. Okay? What do you mean? At the time in question, the victim was listening to the radio with his earpiece. The show he was listening to was Millionaire Radio. Each week, they announced the winning numbers of the $500,000 lottery ticket. Oh oui, that must be la show, Monsieur Elg was listening to... I can't see any problem with this testimony, Mr. Wright. Well, let me get to it, man. You're so impatient. Just sit down. Sit down and wait. I wonder. You say the victim arrived at your restaurant after 2 p.m., correct? Oh, oui. I am sure of it. I remember it perfectly now. I know it's at the time, because I had just finished serving the lunch menu. Get to the point, trite, if you have one. That show is broadcasted live at 1:30 p.m., and it claims to be the most thrilling 10 minutes of your life. It's on the air at 1:30. Now, supposedly, the victim made some noise when it was announced that he had won. And yet, I don't believe his cry of joy could have occurred after 2 p.m. Because the show had already finished more than 30 minutes earlier by that time. No! This victim, we've been told about, has done nothing but the impossible. Listening to the radio with a ruptured eardrum, catching a show that was already over. This is the only conclusion... Well, there is only one conclusion that can be drawn from these facts. This victim was an imposter, acting out the poisoning 30 minutes after the real murder. Shit down, Your Honor. It's wrong. Yes, there were 2 Glen Elgs in Tribulations that day. The real Glen Elg, now dead, had been poisoned by the real killer. And the phony Glen Elg acting out the events of the Mr. Kudo to witness. It certainly seems that way. I mean, if that wasn't the case, how could you explain the time discrepancy?
Objection!
Quite a performance, trite. You're almost on a roll. But sadly, you lack the rock-hard foundation of rhythm to build your song. What is this? Music Theory 101? Let's recap. According to your imaginative theory, it's now just after 2 p.m. The phony Glen Elg is performing a play for the benefit of Mr. Kudo. How do you explain then when the real Glen Elg is? I don't believe I have to spell this out for the court. However, at that time, the real Glen Elg was already dead. That's certainly the obvious conclusion.
Objection!
Thank you, trite. That's exactly what I was hoping you would say. What? Now, I presume you can prove this theory of yours. Can you explain where the missing corpse went to? The missing corpse? According to the old man's testimony, there was only one other customer there. If that customer was the phony Glen Elg, then where did the killer hide the body of the real victim? Narg! The prosecution has a valid point, Mr. Wright. If your theory is to stand up in examination by the court, you must provide us with proof by answering the prosecution's question. You must be the one that tells us, not the evidence. Where did the killer hide the body? Yes, Your Honor. No conjecture, Trite. Let's hear some facts for once. Show the court a piece of evidence that proves where the body was hidden. Evidence? What's with the intense pressure in here all of a sudden? I thought I had him on that contradiction. But he's turning it all around and backed me into a corner instead. Well, Mr. Wright, the court will now hear the defense's theory and evidence. First, where was the body of the real Glen Elg? Concealed. Well, the guy doesn't have a car, so he wouldn't have hidden it in the car. Most likely in the kitchen. It would have been too dangerous to take the body outside. Obviously, the body must have been hidden somewhere inside Tribulations. Interesting. But where could a body have been hidden inside a restaurant? Perhaps you would care to show the court on these plans, Mr. Wright? Yes, Your Honor. The exact location where the body concealed was the kitchen. The body was hidden here. I see. Nice supposition. But the real question is, can you back it up? Where's the evidence that proves the body was hidden in that location? Okay, now I show this. Mr. Armstrong, do you recognize this bottle? No. I have never seen that ugly bottle before in my life. I only use the very best bottles, monsieur. The highest quality for me. Where was this bottle found, Mr. Wright? Interestingly enough, Your Honor, it was found in the kitchen of Tribulations. Eh? Eh? But I only ever use these bottles for my aromatherapy oils. But this bottle doesn't contain aromatherapy oil, Mr. Armstrong. No, it contains a medication. What kind of medication? I'm sure everyone remembers, don't they? That Mr. Elg visited an otolaryngological clinic and was given medication that day. Can't be serious. The defense said that the contents of that bottle analyzed and have the lab results here. The contents of the bottle matched the prescription that was given to Mr. Elg. What? Glen Elg's murderer hid the body in the restaurant kitchen, at which time this bottle fell out the victim's pocket. Mr. Armstrong, when the incident occurred, didn't you say you were in the kitchen? Mon Dieu! Yes, you know what I'm about to say. It was you who hid the victim's body. You did a fine job pretending to defend my client, Maggie Bird, however. You were setting her up to take the fall behind the poor girl's back. No! Let's just say ear clinic, yeah. Order! This is an extraordinary development. Witness, did you murder Glista Glen Elg? I would never do such an horrible thing. No, I can't do it. No. Mr. Godot? The bitterness. Every time I get lied to, I always down a mug of coffee. That's one of my rules. Do you have the slightest idea how many cups you've had by now? Then I like to do the same to the person who lied to me. I like to take them down with an empty cup. Listen up, chef. How about a brand new flavor in your ear, my H-deficient friend? Je vous damned pardon. Please, you must hear me out. It is a trap. Listen to me. Por favor. Wait, por favor, that's Spanish. Yo hablo español. Mr. Armstrong, and por favor is Spanish. Why did he speak Spanish all of a sudden? I'm only going to ask you once. Did you do it? No, absolutely no. Let's hear it. You've got one shot, right, Gramps? Witness, the court will permit you the chance to make one final statement. If you lie under oath again, Mr. Godot's coffee mug waits you. He starts beating him up with a coffee mug. He's like, drink this. As does my gavel. Oui, it is clear. You know, it's kind of funny. He's willing to let Godot beat him with a mug and himself to beat with a gavel. But if like Phoenix was like, oh, and I'll beat you with my lapel, everyone would be like, oh, Phoenix, you monster. Like, what? You're literally threatening him with a gavel and a mug. What do they always say in the movies? I've got a bad feeling about this. Yes, you also keep saying it. I also just punched my desk by accident because my hand slipped. Ow. Very well. Begin your final testimony, Mr. Armstrong. H division. I'm trying to figure out what he meant by that too. Maybe like hemoglobin? But that would make sense because that wouldn't come from... I don't know. The confession. It is true. I hit the body in the kitchen. A man forced me to do it. I had no choice. I had to go along with him because there was a reason why I could not refuse. But I did not kill him. I swear it. You must believe me. You were forced? By who? I cannot say, or I will be erased. Let's try a different question then. When Mr. Elk died, was he really the only person at his table? There was another man. There we go. I knew it. Like he was telling the truth. You may cross-examine the witness now, Mr. Wright. Why are you not surprised by this? Literally, like, there was another man? They're just like, we'll just move on. It's like, come on. We just proved that Maggie's testimony about there being another man was true. And you're just like, we'll move on. There's just one more thing I need to do. I gotta break this guy and get him to tell us his real name, the name of the real killer. I must break you. I will break you. I am Russian now. I have been spending too much time with Von Kamm. I will break him and take out my whip. Did you carry the body by yourself? Oh, oui, I carried him, and I carried Maggie too. Maggie too? Oh, when she saw the victim collapse, she fainted. I could not leave her there. But why did you hide the bodies? What man? Who was he? No, I cannot say. I fear for my life. You know, doing these voices is actually making my jaw kind of hurt a little. Because I kind of have to move my mouth a different way. Not a huge different way, but enough for it to like make my jaw start to get a little stiff. And I already have jaw problems. I don't need more. I fear for my life. He's really scared. We just have to put the words in his mouth, Nick. Yeah, you're right. If you won't tell me, I'll tell him. But why would you go along with this man? I had to go along with him. And what reason would that be, Mr. Armstrong? Do you know, monsieur? Yes? Surely you cannot expect a young maiden to talk about such an embarrassment? Well, yes, especially when you're in a court of law. You need to tell us. A maiden? You're a bit old to get away with that. A bit too male. I can't finish the cross-examination without establishing his reasons. Why did I say that with a W? With his reason. So I'll just have to prove it with evidence. Alright, well. There you go, there's your evidence. I don't see anything except it's a rare blood type H deficient. Then, yeah. Oh well. You have $500,000 debt, don't you? $500,000? Is that true, Mr. Armstrong? Oh oui, je suis désolé. I was a weak and I borrowed the money. This is Mr. Armstrong's Achilles heel. And that's why you couldn't refuse anything offered of you by this man. A $500,000 loan from a black market loan shark. And you had no way of paying it back, did you? That's why you were forced to do anything this man told you. Oh oui, it is as you say. Mr. Armstrong. The tiger. He told me he was going to use my restaurant for a business rendezvous. On the day in question, he had beaten a victim to demand that the repayment his loan. I don't know why it happened like that. I just did what he told me to. Though, I had no choice. I carried the body into the kitchen, and pulled and Maggie into the kitchen. And after that, I tried to forget what I had seen. I think we can now safely say that the man who forced your hand was Furio Tigre. I do have one further question for you, Mr. Armstrong. The poison and the lottery ticket that were found in the defendant's apron pocket. Was that your doing as well? No, I know nothing about that. Making it look like it was Maggie who had done it. I was not. It is despicable. Mr. Godot, you will summon this Furio Tigre as a witness. I doubt that can be arranged today, so we will adjourn for now. Proceedings will continue tomorrow. "30 minutes. What? The trial will go on. I'll see to it myself. I need half an hour to get that man on the stand. Not a minute more." Could you imagine if Arm was like, "Yes, it was you, Phoenix Wright." Yeah. How the... Don't sit back and relax yet, trite. No one knows if that chef is really telling the truth or not. This trial could still go either way. Very well. Your request is granted, Mr. Godot. We will resume once Mr. Tigre is ready to take the stand. Until then, court is adjourned for a 30-minute recess. I think that's the longest recess we've had in these court cases. Although I think it's actually... Yeah, I think we've had another one that was 30 minutes. I think the maximum we've had is 30. Imagine if we had an hour. But all in all, good day's work, everybody. I think that's been an hour. Yeah, it took us an hour to do that. 1:21 p.m. Apparently, that took them... Because they started at 10. So 11, 12... That was 3 hours. 3 hours in court. So we're finally getting to see the tiger on the stand. We're almost got this case won now, Nick. I wish I could agree. Huh? When I cross-examined Mr. Armstrong just now, he said he was just doing what the tiger told him to do. But Godot picked up on it, remember? He pointed out that without proof, we don't know if what he testified is the truth. Oh, excuse me. You mean you think Mr. Armstrong was lying? I don't know, but if that's the line the prosecution takes, we could be in trouble. I get the feeling that we don't have the case-making evidence we're going to need. Hey, pal! Detective Gumshoe! What are you so jumpy about, Detective? Your hair's standing on end. Hey, that's the pot calling the kettle black, you little Miss Top Knot. It's not a top knot! Never mind about the hair, just calm down, alright? I can't stand still when I don't have a job to do. I kind of get wound up. Ugh. No kidding. You're gonna have something you need me to do, pal. Anything. Well, hey, I'm gonna take a jog back down to the precinct. I could get some prints analyzed for you if you've got an hour. An hour? The trial will have reconvened by then. But Nick, we still don't have a really decided piece of evidence, right? True. Without some kind of trump card to pull out of the bag, we're really stuck. You said you could get some fingerprint analysis done in an hour? You bet. In that case, would you mind checking the prints on this for me? Probably for this. If you're going to go back to the station anyway, could you find whose prints are on these? Oh, hey, that's the small bottle I gave back to you this morning, right? Yeah, I think it's time we solved the last mystery of who the prints on it belong to. Sure thing, pal. Actually, that's been gnawing at me too. Small bottle given to Dr. Gumshoe. Okay, I'll get out off to this lab right away. Just make sure you don't lose the case before I get back. It bears your fingerprints, right? This is pretty much the final showdown, I guess. It's time to separate the phonies from the real guys. Imagine if I gave him the wrong thing, because we know all we know is that's the only one that has fingerprints we don't know belongs to. Imagine if it was something random, like we had to give him the freaking winning ticket, and it's like, wait a minute, the fingerprints on this is actually Glenn Elgs or some other guys, the victims. No, the murderer. I'm getting confused now. 156. Court will now reconvene. Miss Godot, did you find this Furio Tigre? I even tamed him for you. It was a 3-cup job, no problem. Tamed him? The guy's named by maybe Furio Tigre, but come on. He's pretty lively. Be careful, he bites. Very well, please show Mr. Tigre to the stand. Witness, please state your name and occupation for the... I don't need to do the sound effect, he did it himself. Ah! Don't hide under the table, Maya, unless there's room for me down there too. What you say to me? Nothing. I didn't say nothing. Honest. Who would have guessed the fear would induce a bad Brooklyn accent in the judge? I got business to take care of, you hear me? Who the hell you called me into this hole? Was it you, Spiky? No, of course not. It was the judge. Your Honor? Oh dear, I seem to have dropped my pen. Where on earth is it? Don't mind me, just carry on with the proceedings as normal. That's it. We're doomed. Maybe you didn't hear me. I said, who the hell was it that called me in here? There's no need to shout. We can all hear you. What'd you say? There's no point struggling. You're caught in a snare. The relentless snare of the law. And I'm the one that hauled you in. Too cool. Even Wright's like, oh man, he's so cool. Don't let him get the better of you, Nick. Let's start with the basics. You know about the incident in question, correct? Incident? I don't know nothing about no stinking incident, masked boy. You mean you didn't attend the previous trial of Maggie Bird? Maggie who? I ain't got no more important things to do than watch courtroom dramas. Of course. Well, perhaps you could give us your testimony then. Please tell us about what you did on the day of the murder. I gotta make it sound like I'm speaking under a desk or something. I don't know how I would do that. It's like, please tell us how you taught the day of the murder. I was still down here. Huh. Phoenix Wright. You's the one who set this up, didn't you? You's gotta regret the day you ruffled the tiger's feather. Or furs. You hear what I'm saying? Oh. Maybe I should have brought a diaper with me today. Wow. I don't need to hear about the diaper chief from you. This is a cool scene. Yeah, it is. Literally a guy wearing a mask. Like, not scared of this guy where everyone else is. Granted, I'm not scared of the guy because he just looks ridiculous, but that's just me. Get a grip, Nick. I don't know nothing about no murder. I was tied up with business in December last year, spending all of my time in my office. I got whales lined up to borrow cash from Tender Linden every single day. Yous wanna check my alibi? Just check Violetta. Ah, at last I found my pen. Very well then, Mr. Wright. Ah! What is it, please, witness? If you could refrain from shouting like that. I know the kind of games that guy in the blue plays. That lowlife ain't no liar. He just punches away at stupid details till he wins. Lowlife? Me? Listen up, Smarty. Every time you ask me something that doesn't relate to this case, I'm gonna bill you $50,000 and you's gotta borrow the cash from me. That's one loan contract I refuse to sign. And don't think it ain't gonna hurt when you tango with the tiger. I say that's because I like Godot enough, but I think he's way overrated by the fans, in my opinion. Oh, well, yeah. I mean, I think he's cool. I like him. He just sort of... I think he vanishes after this game, though. I can't recall. Huh. I love a good spectator sport. Just a minute. That's not really not... This witness is... How could I put it? A hungry tiger roaming the urban jungle. Get on his bad side and you'll bite everyone's heads off. Yours too. Very well. I have no choice but to impose a penalty system here. You's better be listening. I said I get business to take care of. Big business. If I don't split now, I ain't gonna catch my bus. The court will impose a penalty for any irrelevant pressing on the witness's testimony. Keep that in mind as you begin your cross-examination, Mr. Wright. Yes, because the witness is the one that decides what happens in court. What? We're going to put impositions on you, right? Because the witness says that he wants to. So we'll just do what he says. You know? Because everyone hates you. Yes, Your Honor. Don't disagree with it. You could do it, Nick. Come out from under there already, would you, Maya? Well, seeing as I can't press on anything, I guess I just have to do it on a specific quote or present evidence. Check my alibi, just ask via letter. Could I press him on this? Because this sounds important. But then also this. Like, I think... Obviously, this doesn't matter because it literally just says he does nothing about the murder. That's not really helpful. Imagine if Wright snaps and goes off on everyone. I mean, it would be appropriate, and I would actually like that. Because there is way too many times where the hero or main character or one character is just piled on so much that at some point I would want them to react, but most of the time they're just like, oh yeah, okay, I'll take it, rather than just, no, this is wrong, shut up. You know? Show some backbone, show that you're a character, not just a person that just takes the blame for everything. I was tied up with business in December last year, spent all my time in the office. This is not really helpful. I got whales lined up to borrow cash from tender lender every single day. Although, when did this case take place? I think it was November? December 5th. Okay. So he is right. I don't know if this is true. Maybe the matches, because it wouldn't make sense that if he never got out, he wouldn't have the matches. I want to press. By via letter, you're talking about Cadavarini's families? Yeah. You don't want to cross them, or you's going to wind up sleeping with the fishes. Once the Godfather finds out you've been dragging Violetta through the mud, he'll do you in. Sorry, I couldn't quite put it all together towards the end here. He said that he just like Viola in the end, didn't he? I get the feeling this might not be the right time to probe him about her. It's too dang dangerous to press things without knowing where they might end up. Better just focus on gathering information at the moment. Now then, Mr. Tigray, would you mind repeating your testimony from the beginning, please? Okay, so I can press him? If I miss that bus, someone's gonna pay. Ugh. So I can press him, it's just, if I want to press him further, I should decide whether to do it or not. I don't buy that you haven't ever heard of the incident that occurred at Tribulations. You's got a big mouth, right? You was trying to say I was in some mob shit hit? Is that what you're trying to say? Where's your proof, then? Evidence, yes. Well, for an attorney to make an accusation in court, he must have evidence. That's from a loan shark to a lawyer, a beginner's guide, yeah? Ah, I see you're a very studious type, Mr. Tigray. Very good. Ah, why did you ask them something to represent you sometime, trite? What should I do? It's too dangerous to press on things without knowing where they might end up. Okay, I wish the game made us clear. Yeah, because I literally thought if I pressed on anything, immediately I would get a penalty. But no, you can press them, you just can't go further into it unless you know for sure that it's the one you want. Are you sure about that? We're talking about 1 month ago, you know? You see these teeth? Look how sharp my secretary is. Well, that's how sharp. Sharp? Is he talking about Viola Cadavarini? She writes everything down in my scheduler. December, mainly in the office. That's what it says, so that's what I was. That seems like a rather sketchy schedule. Grr. There he goes again. What the Tiger did December isn't the issue. What's important is what he was doing on the day of the murder, so now what? I'll press harder on this one. Mr. Tigre, what do you want? If you wouldn't mind going into a bit more detail.
Objection.
This is a dead end, Triton. You know it. Remember the rules.
Objection.
No, it's essential that they establish the witness's alibi accurately. I agree. The victim was killed on December 3rd. Where were you in the office that day, too? I thought it was like the killing situation where you had to press on a specific part of the testimony. Yeah, that's what I thought. Maybe you ain't listening. Of course I was. I was never foot outside. I had meeting all day with a bunch of cats waiting to do business with me. I ain't never seen that young kid before. I do believe the witness last statement was important. Mr. Godot, if you would please. Mr. Tigre, the court asks you to add that last statement to your testimony. Huh. Don't let an animal beat you. Be a man, Your Honor. Just ask him yourself. Okay, so I can... What? More testimony. Well, that is wrong because we know in the calendar that he was going to meet him.
Objection.
We got you, man. Mr. Tigre. If you hear rubbing, it's me because I'm pressing something on my mic because there's something on it I'm trying to get off. There we go. If you claim you didn't know Mr. Glenn Elg, but it appears that Mr. Elg knew you. Oh, what? Mr. Elg left this little note on his calendar. Meet with the tiger, and the date, December 3rd. December 3rd? That's the day of the murder. So, Mr. Tigre, I submit you did indeed know about one Mr. Glenn Elg. Because the very day of the incident, you met with him. He's so orange. Not bad. You was actually not bad. Sorry? I was just messing with you to see how good you were. Did you hear that, Nick? He said you're not bad. That's one compliment I can do without. Plus, he's lying through his teeth. Witness, please remember that you're under oath. Lies will not be tolerated. You calling me a liar? Is that what you're doing? Ruh-roh. Why did he become Scooby-Doo? So, you're saying that you claim to have never seen the kid before. Is that the truth? I said I'm dead serious. You'll better believe that that's the truth. I'm turning Italian, but that's the point in Brooklyn. Ah. Then I'd say that gives me time to enjoy another cup of pure black magic. Where did these cups come from? Is someone just at the end of his desk just pushing them like along? Like he has an aide who just gives him coffee? That is, while you testify for the court again, Mr. Tigre. Oh, yes. You mind indulging the court, witness? You never actually met the victim. That's got to be a lie right there. It's time I nailed this guy. With the nail gun. I ain't no liar. I ain't never met Glenn Elg. There was some lame guy with that name, though. Wanted to borrow cash from me. I set up a meeting with the guy at my office, tender lender. I waited around for him, but he ain't never showed. Ain't never been to that Trey Ben joint. You's here? Well, that's wrong, because we have a matchsticks. I see. That all seems perfectly logical. You had arranged to meet with the victim, but he didn't show up. I've heard it's pretty hard to keep appointments when you're dead. Very well, you may begin your cross-examination, Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor. Didn't I tell you got a big deal going down today? I ain't gotta make my bus now. I'm gonna have to take up the express train. That bill's going straight to you, right? And I know they showed it to Scumshoe who throws confetti after getting on guilty verdict. True. A detective is there giving him the coffee. Okay. I mean, I would believe it. These detectives in this game seem to be pretty useless. Like, immediately zoned in on that. Like, Mr. Tigray, is there something you'd like to tell the court about these matches? Matches? What you talking about? What you talking about, Willis? We found them in your office at Tenderlender. They're from that restaurant. What? If you've really never been to Tribulations before, what was the book of restaurant matches doing on your desk? You're supposed to put around my stuff now, too, wise guy. What are you, my ball and chain? Ain't no broad controlling me. I beg to differ on that, but we'll keep going on. Order, order. Well, witness, at least you're not hiding anymore. I think it's time you started telling us the truth, don't you? Okay, never mind. Sorry, I'm telling you sorry. Forgive me. Ain't no pussycat. I don't go back on what I said. But okay, I was at the joint that day. What? But listen good, all right? I might have been there, but I still never met that kid. Well, well. That is a pain when you get the right idea, but you're ahead in terms of story. Yeah. Looks like an order just came in for another testimony. I'm this close to proving it was him. He did meet Glen Elg that day. And he did put poison in his coffee. He must have. You know, considering everyone thought he was right, I'm surprised no one is going out and saying, like, wait a minute, 2 rights? Like, you'd think that would be a thing, but I guess they just didn't do it in the end. It was like, okay, we've done it enough now, just move on. I was supposed to meet with the kid at the restaurant that afternoon. When I opened the door to the joint, I saw only one ugly scene. I saw the guy was laid out over the table, stuffed as a concrete. I figured if the place wasn't hot already, it was gonna be, so I split. I heard the cop sirens on my way out, and I went straight back to my office. I see. You didn't actually meet with him in the end, then. Well, Mr. Wright, your cross-examination, please. Yes, Your Honor. Hold it. If I wait around here any longer, I ain't gonna make the normal express. No more stupid questions. Ah, no problem. Anytime Tripe presses you on something irrelevant, I'll see he pays a penalty. Okay, now I think it's going to be that. Miss Godot, that's my job. Your job is to slam that little hammer of yours and call a guilty verdict. So do it. Yes, sir. The Special Express ain't cheap, right? Just so yous know since yous paying. Oh man, doesn't the rule of law mean anything around here? No. By this point, I'm just expecting things to just go against us. I guess even the writer was like, okay, overuse this. Yeah. $1:30 to $2:30. How did the police arrive? Do boo 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 boo. Boo, boo, boo. Do, do, do. Boo, boo, boo. Boo, boo, boo. I'm looking just in case. So how Wright gets so bullied in this game, and yet in AA4 he's so well respected. Well, you know, time adds to the legend, I guess, or whatever. Bloody poison. Hot already, it was going to be so split. I'll press on this one. You mean you saw Glen Elg's dead body? I guess I did, but I only saw him from behind. He was wearing some raggy bit of cloth he called a hat. And what time was this? I don't know. What? You know what wins What winds me up more than anything else in the world? Watches, round watches. Ain't gonna pollute my paws with something ticking henpecker. What? Then get a square watch. I don't know. Out of interest, Mr. T. Gray, what winds you up more at the second most? Huh? What do you think? Square watches. Okay, never mind. Is this guy for real? Look, all I need to know is what that something bad was going down in that place. Okay, I guess that was relevant. So you didn't actually set up foot inside the restaurant then? The tiger is a busy cat. I don't go around hanging around for no one. I ain't got time to be caught up in no murder investigation. So, when exactly did you pick up the matches? There are matches just inside the front door. Our detective friend wound up in trouble when the chef took around taking 55 books home. Poor gumshoe. It's almost enough to make a man cry. You went straight back? Did a bout of guilt suddenly hit you for what you did? What you trying to say? You trying to tell me you ain't never been guilty of nothing? We all have our crosses to bear. We all have to swallow the pride, swallow the dark secrets we hide. Like this. The courtroom not exactly the place to talk about dark secrets, is it? It seems you've done it again, Mr. Wright. Another relevant line of questioning. I must impose a penalty accordingly. Okay, what the hell? Like, some of the stuff is fine, other ones are not. What? Well, Nick, what do you think? He's running out of ways to avoid the truth. I need to press him fast before he has time to think things through. I'll come up right back at him with a contradiction. Be careful what you press him on, okay? Or you'll get penalized. Yes, I know, I just got penalized. Well, I assumed that the way that he could have seen him, he wouldn't have been able to see him by the floor plans. Yeah, like you just said. Because there's a thing in the way. So he would have gone in here, and if he said he saw the body, that would be kind of impossible. So... You're something of a loan-collecting pro, aren't you, Mr. T. Gray? No one escapes the tiger's clutches. Well, I'm something of a lie-detecting pro. And no one escapes the phoenix clutches. Okay, that was a cool line. It's kind of there, but it was cool for Phoenix. I think it's time we got something straight. What's this, trite? A new line of irrelevant questioning. These are the floor plans of the crime scene. You say you were standing at the entrance, Mr. T. Gray. From there, your field of vision would have been covered an area something like this. Indeed, the witness would have had a clear view of the victim's seat. Isn't that what I just said? I saw the back of the kid's head. Unfortunately for you, that is not possible. If the court would think back, you'd remember that between each of these tables is a tall partition. Why, that's true. Now look at the plans again. The truth is painfully obvious. From the entrance, the field of vision of any customer walking in ends here. He at least tried. Yeah, I guess. So from the entrance of the Tribulations, you couldn't have seen the victim's seat. But you did see the victim that day because you met with him.
Objection!
Wrong. Have you forgotten the old man's testimony yesterday? The victim was alone at his table.
Objection!
But the defense just proved that point to be moot. The victim witnessed by Mr. Kudo was not Glen Elk, but a fake. What? Where have you been, Godot? You were a part of this whole thing. Whatever. In order to have Mr. Kudo falsely testify, the real killer posed as the victim he had just killed and acted out a charade. That will do. This trial has gone on long enough without the obvious question being answered. Who exactly was the real killer who impersonated the victim? You say the killer murdered Glen Elk and then impersonated his victim in the performance for Mr. Kudo. If that's the case, Mr. Wright, reveal the identity of this criminal to the court. Like, oh, you say there was another criminal? Prove it. Show us. Who is the criminal? It's like, we're here to prove or figure out who that was. Why do I have to tell you? But okay. Obviously, the killer is Furio Tigre. No one else could have done it. What? Well, witness? Now that's cute. You think you could pin this on the tiger? Maybe you just don't understand. I didn't get a chance to read that, so I dare you to say it again. Come on, you got the guts. You can't threaten me, Mr. Tigre. It's the defense. Go ahead and tell the witness, Mr. Wright. Mr. Wright! Sounds to me like you're just going to be you, old man. You've got the guts, I'll give you that. Mr. Wright, don't let me handle this alone. Perhaps I can end this embarrassment. Mr. Godot. Let's get back over with Mr. Kudo's testimony one more time. The old man didn't just see the victim. Oh, no, no, no. Seven Gal brought the Jamikino. He put something in it. There's no question about it. Hey, just make sure you put some white powder in there. Was the good victim he saw the victim, real victim or not? That doesn't matter. The fact remains, he saw the accused put the poison into the coffee. Yes, it was the waitress who... But very impressive, Mr. Godot. Waiting for my absence to launch your attack. Ah. Found your pen at last, Trite. It was in my pocket. Ahem. Anyway, Mr. Kudo witnessed two people that day. He saw the victim, the supposed Mr. Glenelg, and the waitress from behind. Yes, your point, Mr. Wright? I think this conclusion is obvious. If this Glenelg was really the killer in disguise, then surely it's possible the waitress was also part of the show. What? You mean the waitress was an imposter as well? I am spitting all over on my mic. 1 second. Hopefully that will get rid of it. The defendant, Miss Bird, fell unconscious immediately after the incident. And someone used her fainting to hatch an elaborate plan to pin the murder on her. Who on earth was it? Who was this waitress that Mr. Kudo witnessed? Who is this woman? Her name is Viola Cadavarini. She's an employee of Tender Lender. Cleaning time, yeah. You's making a big mistake. Do you know who Violetta's grandfather is? You better be going home in an armored truck tonight if you know what I mean. Stop shaking, Nick. Where was I? Yes, the defendant, Miss Bird, goddammit, Miss Bird has stated the following. Well, when I took the coffee over to the table, it was true that another victim was in the restaurant. She was sort of creepy, and she had a kind of cackling laugh. There are just too many contradictions in this case. There's a second man at the victim's table that nobody but Miss Bird seemed to have seen. The earpiece worn by the victim in the left ear when the eardrum was ruptured. And the radio show he was supposedly listening to half an hour after it was over. There is only one logical explanation that clears up all of these contradictions. The whole incident took place twice, once for real and once for show. And for Mr. Fio Tigre, the only person who could have committed the crime is you. Witness, what have you got to say? That's cute. Sorry, you was alright. I could do with a guy like you around. What do you mean? Okay, I'm on this game. I'm gonna have a charter to get me to my meeting now, but I'm gonna give yous one more thing to think about before I go. Something to think about? You've got it all wrapped up nice, huh, right? But yous missed out not one very important thing. I'm losing words. I wish the mob family played a bigger part in this case. Normally it's only the background information or just played for laughs. Yeah. But that can't be. I was in the joint that day and I met that kid too. But I couldn't have poisoned him, do you hear? What? Do you really expect us to believe you now, Mr. Tigre? Ha. What a troublemaker. Troublemaker? Looks like we're gonna need another one for the road. One more steaming cup of cup of hot testimony. Indeed. Witness, you will explain yourself to the court. I'll give you one more chance to testify. What happened that day to at Tribulations between yourself and the victim? Stop lying, essentially is what he's saying. If you keep lying, we're just going to make you go to prison. Yeah, I loaned El cash, about $100,000. That day we were due to have a little chat. The kid had hit his payback date, see? So anyway, he tells me he's got no way to pay up. I'm about to flatten the guy when he starts screaming. Yes, I won $500,000. He got lucky, you know, real lucky. If that waitress hadn't done what she'd done, everything would have been over. Now I see that the principal amount you loaned from Mr. L was $50,000. Yeah, well, you've got Zvig to take into account. Interest builds up fast, you know? That's faster than fast. $100,000, twice his principal. And the repayment deadline was December 3rd, the day of the incident in question. Yeah, he was one lucky kid. He got $500,000 just in time. So I ain't have no reason to kill the kid. And if I ain't got no motive, you ain't got no case. His motive? Huh. He has to have one, but what is it? Am I gonna get penalties again? Because they didn't say anything. Did he have any way of paying back the loan? The fool was a gambler. He said he could have given it up till he landed a big win. So I agreed to help him. Help him? You? I kept hitting him with ideas for ways he could get out a big win. But the guy kept losing. So you were helping him for his sake, or yours. Win through compromise. Yous help me, I help yous. What's the difference, huh? I don't believe this. Nick, would anyone really ever loan money to someone they thought was unreliable? Like, for example, if it were you, I'd only owe you $5 max. Thanks a lot, Maya. Wow, Maya. Can we get rid of her? Get someone new. So, how much were you expecting him to pay you back on that day? What you stink, the whole package, 100K, including interest. That's a real heavyweight punch. Once a client misses a repayment, you call the whole loan in. You want to make it in my world, you got it. That's all you's got to know. And how many times did Mr. L been late with his repayments? Once. And how much was he supposed to pay back every month? $50. Sounds like Mr. L was in a real sticky spot. Yeah, $50 a month, he'd never paid that huge loan off. How much did he have left of his debt? You wanted around figures? About 100K. That's the whole amount. We're talking about a guy who had 56 cents in his wallet. What? You was telling me he wasn't even going to pay for the coffee? He certainly seems to have been a brave man, this Mr. Elg. That guy was smooth, I tell you. Tell you's real smooth. You'll have your money in less than 5 minutes. That's what he says to me. The guy then kills me, the tender tiger. He was skating on thin ice with me. Was it because the guy won the lottery? Was his big chance a big win? Did you confirm that this is the ticket in question? That's it. The Millionaire Radio Show starts at 1:30 and runs for 10 minutes. That fixes the time you two met with some accuracy. And the whole scene was acted out again 30 minutes later. So all that Mr. Kudo could see. I can still see the kid's face now. I ain't gonna forget it. Brave and desperate go hand in hand, I guess. Yeah, probably. Was there anyone else in the restaurant at the time? I don't remember. If there was no one there, I'll wear that ridiculously tiger shirt for a mouth. Mr. Armstrong, Maggie, and if I'm right, Viola Cadavarini were all there at the time. So, the victim had intended to repay Hugh from the lottery winnings from the beginning? Seems that way to me. But wouldn't you normally expect to win the lottery? But you wouldn't normally expect to win the lottery, would you? Ha! In dying belief that your next roll will end the losing streak you ever had, the worst losing streak you ever had. That's what defines a true gambler. He makes it sound so cool. Don't be tempted, Nick. You haven't got the willpower for it. All I know is the kid took a shot and it landed in the end. The waitress? You mean the girl with the glasses in the defendant's chair? Who else could I mean? If she hadn't gotten in the way, things would have been bada bing, bada boom, over and done with. Maybe I should push a little on this? I'm interested in what he says about this. What do you mean things would have been over and done with? Are you still there or what? I'm talking about the cash. I was there to get my 100k back. That's all. I'm a businessman. It was all coming together before the waitress got in the way. As far as I can tell from the witness's testimony, other than recouping his loan, Mr. Tigre had no motive for killing the victim. Witness, you will amend your testimony to reflect what you said. The Tiger's motives, huh?
Objection!
Well, that was easy. No orange makeup, though. So you just intended to get back the $100,000 from Mr. Elg you owed, correct? Owed you. I loaned the guy the cash, so that's my right. Unfortunately for Mr. Elg, I don't believe the $100,000 is what you were really after.
Objection!
How about you let me finish? Shut up! What are you getting at, trite? What else would a moneylender be after than money? Oh, the moneylender was after money, but the money in a totally different league. The kind of money that would a single disc like this would fetch. What is that? A computer virus, Your Honor. A virus called MC Bomber. A computer virus? What does one of those do? A computer virus is a program that wreaks havoc on the insides of a computer. A computer? What does one of those do? I guess the beard isn't the only part of his honor that is from the Stone Age. I'll explain it to you later, Your Honor. Right now, this is an important point. A virus like MC Bomber would be worth several $1 million on the black market. Several $1 million? Lending money with no hope of ever seeing repayment would normally be bad for business. But in this case, the very fact that Glenn Elk had no way to repay the money is crucial. What? Glenn Elk was a programmer, a highly skilled one. That skill was the collateral Mr. Elk put up in order to borrow the money.
Objection!
You're trying to suggest the witness's motive was to get the hold of that program? Exactly. The witness may have poor fashion sense, but he is by no means an idiot trite. A man like him could get his hands on $1 million without resorting to murder. Of course he could, provided that he had time. But what if he needed that money right then? When the pressure's on, the luxury of choice tends to disappear. It seems you have a logical conclusion for this theory, Mr. Wright. Would you care to share it with us? Why did Mr. Tiger need the money? Mr. Tigre? That would be because... Yes. In December of last year, you found yourself in need of a huge amount of money. And about 6 months ago, you were involved in a traffic accident, weren't you? An accident involving a car and a scooter in which a young woman was injured. She was taken to the hospital where she underwent surgery. How much of this do yous know? These medical papers document the treatment of the young woman in question. According to these, her operation cost $1 million. And yet, when the payment was due last month, you somehow managed to pay it in full. $1 million? A preposterous sum. Someone should sue those HMOs. HMOs? Health medical operators? I don't know. No one would pay a bill like that. If the medical association got wind of it, the hospital would end up as dead as a morgue. But Mr. Tigre had no choice but to pay, because his very life depended on it. Order! Order! You say his life depended on it, Mr. Wright? Indeed it did, simply because the injured one was none other than Viola Cadavarini. Dr. Evil reference. No one expects it. Did you say Cadavarini? Bruno Cadavarini, mod boss, is in charge of all underworld activities in the city and doting grandfather to his precious Violetta, also known as Viola Cadavarini. Your life was in danger unless you paid compensation to the boss, correct? It makes sense. You were desperate to acquire that $1 million Bruno Cadavarini demanded of you. So desperate, in fact, that you decided to sacrifice Glen Elg's life to pay your debt. On the day of the murder, Mr. Tigre's sole intention was to get the hands on this CD. Glen Elg had no way of paying back that $100,000, and Mr. Tigre knew it. But then a miracle happened. The kind that Mr. Tigre would prefer to say never happened, but he can't, and neither can I. The lottery win. Exactly. At the 11th hour, Mr. Elg won $500,000 of the lottery, which left Mr. Tigre with no way of getting his hands on the all-important CD. At least no legitimate way. And so he put salt in his coffee. So he resorted to illegitimate means. That's crazy. He murdered Glen Elg and then made his next move, to frame Maggie Bird for the crime. Mr. Tigre posed as Glen Elg, while Viola Cadavarini played the role of Miss Bird. And then he reenacted the whole thing in order to establish a witness. The miracle happened, except it didn't because he died. Yeah. The witness being the one we all heard testify yesterday, Mr. Victor Kudo.
Objection!
Like I said, Trite, that's crazy. No one would pull off a stunt like that. For starters, there's no way the chef would have been kept in the dark about it. Mr. Armstrong was in from the very beginning. Have you forgotten already, Mr. Godot? Mr. Armstrong owed the witness money too, $500,000 in fact. He had no choice but to go along with Mr. Tigre's plan. Order, order, silence or I will clear the courtroom. You's put on a good show, Spiky. If yous want to stay alive in the loan sharp business, you gotta be careful. You saying I dressed up like that kid, created a witness and framed someone? If I did something crazy like that, I'd leave a trail as bright as my shirt. I ain't dumb enough to do something sloppy like that. I agree. You do? Despite your appearance, you were very careful. That's why you took one more precaution. One more trick to make sure Miss Bird had no way of knowing. What? Another one, Mr. Wright? I'm a save. Because I don't know about this. Interesting. Why don't you fill us all in, Trite? What was the trick you say Mr. Tigre performed to frame the accused? Oh, I guess pretending to be me. Is it this I need to show? What on earth is that? What an insult to think anyone could be fooled by such a childish imitation. About that. You thought it was real. Consider yourself insulted, Your Honor. Mr. Tigre, you didn't just pose as the victim on the day in question. A month ago, in this very court, you posed as me. What? That's the truth. But the witness looks nothing like you, Mr. Wright. Although, now that I think about it, it was you, wasn't it? No doubt it was you, standing in here, this very court, a mere month ago. Wow, the moment it gets brought up, it's like, hold on a minute, yeah! Like, what? It took you this long and someone to point it out? The judge, we need to get a new judge in, okay? We need to exchange for a new model. The Phoenix Wright who put the most distributable shabby defense I've ever seen.
Objection!
Can you prove that, Gramps? Who the attorney who represented the accused here a month ago was this man? Are you prepared to take the stand and testify that it was him? Oh? Hey. Forget about it, yeah? I wouldn't do something like that. No, not me. Not me. You made a mistake, right? It's something else, huh? Oh my god, everyone else is an idiot. Tag death slam.
Objection!
Have you no pride, sir?
Objection!
We're just going back and forth now. This isn't a matter of pride. In case you didn't know, try hearing court would deal with people's lives. And you seem singularly determined to ruin Miss Maggie's. Mr. Godot is right. Your Honor? Speaking for myself, I am absolutely convinced. The attorney in question was the witness standing before me now. However, I preside over this case as the judge, with the vested power to hand down a verdict. Someone in my position cannot be swayed by memory without evidence to support it. But it's part of it. What? It's part of evidence. Testimony is evidence. Whatever. Just continue on. No! If the defense has no further evidence, the court will now excuse the witness. The circumstances surrounding Mr. Tigre are dubious for sure, but not conclusive. But we've come so far. You say he impersonated Mr. Glenn Elk. You say he impersonated you. But none of that adds up to a murder charge. You don't have a shred of evidence that the witness poisoned the victim's coffee. Yarr! Ha! Sucks to be you, right? Don't mess with the tiger, or you're gonna be mauled. You've got that? All you managed to do here was chase him around a bit. But I was so close to getting him to admit his own guilt. Ah. Looks like I won. I won't be needing a refill. If I just had one more piece of evidence. One more piece of evidence that maybe I could get Maggie off the hook. This witness cross-examination is over. You are free to go, Mr. Tigre. Hold it. Your Honor, sir. Wait! Detective Gumshoe. Sorry I took so long, pal. I staked everything on this. My badge, the works. So here it is. My heart's counting on this, too. What is it, Detective? Isn't it obvious, pal? It's the final decisive piece of evidence. What? Dun, dun, dun. 2:48 p.m. Sorry it took so long, pal, but I finally got the results from the lab. The results? About the prints, pal, from this medicine bottle. Oh, so? Do you know who the prints belong to now? Do you think I'm some kind of hack detective? Of course I know. So, tell us. They're the tigers, right? I knew it. You bet. Clear as crystal, all over the bottle. They're Fiero Tigro's paw prints, all right. That's great. We got him now, Nick. What's wrong with you? You hardly said a word since Detective Gumshoe got here. You said everything on the line for this, Nick. I know. Look, I'm sorry. This is kind of hard to say, but it really doesn't make a difference whose prints are on the bottle now. Huh? What? Why not? What we need to produce at this stage in the trial is irrefutable evidence that the tiger put poison in Glenelg's coffee. He already admitted that he met the victim. The fact that his prints are on this bottle, that really doesn't make any difference now. That means he touched the medication when he wouldn't need to. I knew it. Great. No matter how hard I try, never use of anyone. Hey, don't be so hard on yourself. Nick's just a spoil sport. This is the last chance to help Maggie. And I've been working on some useless piece of evidence the whole time. It's alright. I'm a real loser. There's not breaking news to me, pal. Detective Gumshoe? Maggie, you've been working something for me? Sorry I let you down, Maggie. I know you didn't do it. And I'm a detective. We're supposed to be able to prove stuff like that. I'm really sorry. I'll get out of your hair now. Detective Gumshoe, wait! He's gone. Isn't there anything we could do now, Nick? I wish there was. Gumshoe worked so hard to get that evidence. If only there was some way I could use it. January 8th, 3:04 p.m. You murdered anyone. Yeah, true. Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor? I granted you a recess so you could prepare this decisive evidence you've discovered. Yes. Don't keep us all in suspense, Wright. Show us. Naturally, we can assume it's evidence that will actually stand up in court, can't we? Think, Phoenix. I'm thinking by saving. Don't let Gumshoe's hard work go to waste. How much more of my time you's gonna waste? Ain't been no to court before. But you's lawyers sure know how to blow things out of proportion. No doubt, given the nature of the evidence, I will speak for itself. Nevertheless, you will talk us through it, Mr. Wright. Well, I know I can't prove anything new with this evidence. I'm really backed into a corner here, but maybe if he thinks he's got me beat, he'll let his guard down a bit. Don't keep us waiting any longer, Mr. Wright. Present this final decisive piece of evidence to the court. This is the defense's final piece of evidence. Isn't that the victim's... Your Honor, naturally, the court is already aware of the contents of this bottle. However, interesting new information has come to light. We have clearly identified some fingerprints on it. Fingerprints belong to you, Mr. Tigre. What? But, Mr. Wright, what conclusion are you hoping to draw from this new information? Everyone here knows that this bottle contains. Except one man. One person in his courtroom should theoretically be in the dark. Fingerprints on that pansy-looking bottle? Is that what you're saying? But what the hell's in it anyway? Okay, we'll just pretend it's got potassium cyanide in it. Everything about this case has been phony. Seems like the perfect excuse to use some phony evidence. Mr. Tigre, this is the decisive piece of evidence that will prove your guilt. Why? Because it contains potassium cyanide. Mr. Armstrong's oil. This bottle contains potassium cyanide. Potassium cyanide? The poison used to murder Mr. L, Your Honor. The victim's killer used this very bottle. And on this bottle, Mr. Tigre, we found your fingerprints. Well, how do you explain that? You'd make a good clown, you know that? What? Yous ain't never gonna get this stick to stick. Yous just making me laugh now. You think a cheap bluff like that's gonna fool the tiger? A bluff? I can see straight through you, Mr. Phoenix Wright. That ain't no bottle with the cyanide in it. No. This is the bottle where you found the traces of the poison in. Don't mess with the tiger, or you're gonna get ripped to shreds. The cyanide bottle was brown. It was made of glass. That cheap piece of trash don't look nothing like it. Hook, line, and sinker. Got him. At last. What? Why has everyone gone quiet? Is it that bottle? Is this the bottle you're referring to? Yeah, that's it. That's the bottle cyanide was in. But you's gotta ain't gonna find no prints on that bottle. Don't let that cozy-looking suit fool you people. That lawyer's just playing games. Tell him, Mr. Prosecutor. Tell that guy where to go. You still haven't figured it out. Don't you realize what you just said? What I said? What did I just say? You were summoned to this court for the first time earlier today. If you really had nothing to do with the murder, you shouldn't have known all the little details. For instance, you shouldn't have known what kind of bottle the potassium cyanide was in. That's why I really like this ending. Yeah, we managed to dupe the murder. But just now, you slipped up in front of every single person in this courtroom. You described the exact bottle used by the killer to hold the poison. Yous don't know who yous messing with. I'm the Tiger. I control millions of dollars on the black market. You think I'm gonna let some jumped-up suit get the better of me? Well, I mean, seeing as you're just admitting to all these crimes, yes. Sure, the last piece of evidence was phony. But that's just what you deserve. A phony trial with a phony lawyer. It was all played out by you, the biggest phony of all. Grr. I can't go for that long. What's going on? We put the tigers in our burn. Looks like a blackout. Well done, trite. I saved my 17 cup of coffee just for you. Again, savor it. While you watch the police restrain your prey. He's just frozen. Mr. Wright, you caught a tiger by his toe, but if this one hollers, he won't let go. He won't be let go. Now then, how are things going, Mr. Tigre, Mr. Godot? He is being arrested for suspicion of murder of Glen Elk, Your Honor. Fortunately for us, we managed to rectify a very grave error. Miss Bird was found guilty in the absence of a genuine defense attorney. Yes, she was. In the absence of genuine evidence. But the tiger made one mistake. At least, you know, he's like, oh no, this was true. He was the criminal. I accept that. Rather than other ones who's like, no, I will never accept this. He's like, no, yeah, they were evil. Indeed. He very nearly got away with everything if it wasn't for the one slip of the tongue. Pio Tigre is truly a frightening criminal. Ha! The truly frightening one is that defense attorney over there. Godot. Well, I am now in a position to deliver my verdict. This court finds the defendant, Maggie Bird, not guilty! And I still won't get paid for this. That is all. The court is adjourned. Another case in the bag. 4:10 p.m. Mr. Wright, I'm at a loss for words. Thank you, sir. Congratulations, Maggie. I was so mad when Mr. Wright landed me in all that trouble a month ago. But now I feel like I can forgive him. Hey, that wasn't me, Maggie. That was the tiger. Look, Nick, in the doorway. Is that the gumshoe? Oh, guess I'll be heading out now, pal. Wait! Detective Gumshoe. Oh, yeah. Congratulations, Maggie. Thanks. I knew you were innocent all along. Why didn't you say that in your testimony then? Because he was only supposed to give the facts. Like, you can't just say, I like Maggie, she's innocent. That's not evidence. You can't give that in court as a testimony. Huh? Oh, well, well, guess I'll be heading out. I'll see you around. Wait up, detective. He just ran off. Maggie, why are you being so hard on him? He busted his butt for you. It's thanks to him that we got the bottle medication. That wasn't even any of use. Yes, it was. It was the one thing that got us to win the whole thing. I'm going to say, because I know I need to present evidence that's like, oh, no, he did help. Look. But it's only because Mr. Wright used it so cleverly. Detective Gumshoe was just running around in circles. Poor guy. Looks like she still isn't ready to forgive him. Or still isn't ready to forgive him. Can't you put him a good word for him, Nick? Yeah, Maya's right. I should help Gumshoe out. It's clear he needs it. Maggie? You know, Detective Gumshoe has been really worried about you through all of this. I wanted to believe that, sir. But on the first day of the trial, you practically gave the judge a free pass to lock me up. He didn't have any choice, Maggie. He's a detective. He had to report the facts. He doubted me, that's why. He thought maybe I'd done it. I gotta prove to her that Gumshoe really cares about her. I know. I'll give her a little present to celebrate her freedom. The sausages! Or as they call weenies for some reason. I hate that word. Here you are. A present to celebrate your freedom. That's a present from Detective Gumshoe made with a ton of love. He said you lost weight and he was worried about you. Detective Gumshoe? I actually really like weenies, you know. Did you guys hear that? I'm pretty hungry myself, you know. Yeah, the trial dragged on a bit today, didn't it? Is it okay if I eat this now? So how is it, Maggie? It's really good. Yay! My defense badge, of course. So the case of the Fernie versus Genuine comes to an end. The false allegations surrounding Maggie have all been cleared up. And who knows? Maybe a whole new chapter of her life is about to start. You know, maybe we should hire her, because she keeps going to these places that want to get her in trouble. Let's just hire her for as like a secretary or something. At least we'll be able to keep an eye on her. Recipe for a turnabout the end. Woo! Turnabout beginnings. It's Edgeworth, who looks much younger all of a sudden. And much more fancier. I see a bridge. Turnabout Beginnings, Episode 4. Save. We're about to get into some trauma, if I remember correctly. So, I'm never going to forget that scene of you doing that with Regina. I can't remember what happened with that. I've literally just blocked out everything that happened with that case. So you're gonna have to remind me. I can't believe I can't remember anything. I know I didn't like it. That's about it. Miles von Edgeworth. Alright, let's have a sneak peek of what the next case is about. The girl. Let her go. This is an old-timey picture. Shut up. Come closer. And I kill her. I accidentally clicked on the badge. Oh, right, yeah. Sorry, but you're going to get the chance. You're not going to get a chance. Bang. Whee! He's in the hospital? I'm reading through the file of an old court case. It was the first case of my longtime mentor, Mia Fey. Fugitive data. Picture. Oh, we're getting all high tech. Or all tech. Terry Falls. Charge kidnapping and murder. Sentence death penalty. Fugitive motives. Movements. I was escaping. Falls met with and had then murdered Sergeant Valerie Hawthorne. Recaptured on Eagle Mountain about 8 hours after his escape. Her very first client was a death row inmate who had recently broken out of prison. That was only a whole year before Mia and I ever met. Why is it all so cinematic? 6 years earlier, Mia Fey, first trial. You're supposed to prove why Acrobat cared for Regina, and you literally just presented your badge. Oh, yeah. 9:24 a.m. Alright, and we will stop there. That is a sneak peek for next time. So look forward to that case. It's arguably the best in the case. Best in the case. It's definitely one of the more emotional series. Yeah. I do think that the case that we're going to do next time is going to be more emotionally, one of the more emotionally charged ones. To be honest, there are quite a few cases that are like that. I think I said there was one in like the second game, and I think there was one in the first game, but not as much. But yeah, so we shall stop there for today. We finished off the case with the phony Phoenix Wright. We'll be back with this next week, Wednesday. So tune in for that. That'll be fun. And we'll be back on Tuesday with Baldur's Gate. Wait, did I say Tuesday already? This was Wednesday. Baldur's Gate is Tuesday. My brain's starting to shut off now because I've been speaking so much. But yeah, I like today. This game is like, it's still fun. I'm still enjoying myself. We've got this case, and I think we've got one other case left, so look forward to that. I think that's everything. So thank you all for joining today. I hope everyone enjoyed. As usual, like, follow, subscribe, do the bell notifications so you know our next stream. Hopefully YouTube will notify you. Sometimes it's a bit weird with that, but yeah. If you want to help support me directly, link to Patreon and tips. And if you do become a patron, you get your name added to the list of patrons, such as with Hiroru Kuni, where I think of your continued support. I'll give you a shout out. I greatly appreciate it. And yeah. So that's it for this week. Hope everyone has a nice rest of the week. Y'all take care of yourself. Get rested up and all that. And I will see you all next week, Tuesday. Until then, y'all take care. Bye, Sean. Bye, everyone else. See you next time. Bye-bye.